This meeting is being recorded.
We have discussed about the 7-year developmental cycles. And I think I also mentioned that these 7 years keep repeating throughout our life. And if I have not, please ask, because I keep talking in so many different contexts and I forget where I have covered what. So in brief, every 7 years we have a shift in our development. In case of children, it is first 7 years is the development of physical body. The second 7 years is predominantly the emotional body. The third 7 year, which is from 14 till 21, is development of the intellectual abilities. It is not that children do not have intelligence prior to 14, but the way we define intelligence to be, your ability to take risk, take charge, take responsibility, and complete the task with responsibility, that kind of ability to decide, judge, etc., develops only after a child is 15 or 16 years of age. So technically, the childhood goes from birth till about age 21. And the minute the child is as tall as me, or even imitate certain words that adults say around them, we start treating them as adults and confuse children more. And the 7-year cycles continue from 21 to 28, 28 to 35. And typically, when you kind of map it, 21 to 28 is continuation of the intellectual development. And we go back in the reverse order now, 28 to 35, it is more of a emotional, I would not say development, it is in kind of way development, but it's more refining and maturity, or a little bit more chaos that gets created, which must help us to resolve certain things, heal certain things, and move on. Then 42 to 35 to 42 is again some kind of physical development. In the first 7 years, it was more of my body. But the second stage, second 7 years for physical development, 35 to 42, you could look at it as more materialism, more physicality around us. We are more settled, we are probably earning more, and we are ready for promotions, and either if I'm working, it's me, otherwise the family, the setup I'm in, or we are changing the place, we are building out, moving from single bedroom to 2-bedroom, or buying a vehicle, or whatever like that. And this again continues for 7 more years, 42 to 49. 14 years of physical development, that happens. And again at 49 till 56, we are in an emotional roller coaster. We start attracting. Physically, we start going down, some diseases, getting glasses, gray hair, some kind of discomfort at an emotional level sets in. However, I must be more mature here than I ever was in previous 7-year cycles, which is from 28 to 35 or 7 till 14. If at all I am maturing this way, then I am growing up to be a fine human being. Else, I'm stuck in that stage itself, that emotional security or insecurities that we attracted when we were 7 till 14 kind of stays with us if I don't heal it, if I don't move up from it. And continuing with the 7-year cycles from 56 to 63 and continuing till 70 is intellectual development. So I'm not going to be reading more books or getting more degree or whatever. I already have certain amount of knowledge. Now I'm going to use that knowledge and make it my own. I mean, I'm not going to say Steiner said this or Rabindranath Tagore said this. That is why we have to be following it. Or there is this proverb, man makes, practice makes the man perfect. So we have to practice it. So I'm not going to be advising here, but I am setting an example where I have practiced it enough, mastered it enough, that my work shows that I had to practice for 10,000 hours. I mean, that's what somebody says, practice 10,000 hours for you to be perfect in the craft. My work, my being should show that. That is kind of a refinement. As the growth of human being, we see in people who have really worked on themselves, worked on life, and that is our purpose right now, whatever age stage we are in. If we have children under our care, we need to be that loving authority. We need to be that role model. We need to be that worthy of imitation adult, and we need to continue to work on ourselves. And there is no other way. It's not that I'm done with it. And many a times I hear, I am the adult, listen to me. I am the boss, this is my way. I have done it, I have seen it, I have that experience, and this is how we go. But I may have had that experience from 20 years ago. Things are not relevant anymore. But I'm not aware of it. And this used to happen to me a lot, when we went to the US in 1990, getting the visa, getting the green card, happened in few years' time, within 2-3 years. Sometimes, my friends also got in like 9 months their green card. But now the wait for green card is, people say 120 years. In 30 years' time, things have dramatically changed. I have family members living there who still don't have green card. And I cannot be advising them. I cannot be telling them, oh, we got it in 6 months. You will also get now in 6 months. So go ahead. Won't work. It may have been my experience, but many things outside me has changed. And if we start paying attention to it, you will realize how irrelevant our advice is for the children of present times. I used to sit and study, want to work for child now. So somewhere we need to figure out what the child is up to and align with their way of doing things based on the present age and time. However, this developmental cycles remain the same. First 7 years, though child is born in the digital world, they cannot just grow up in 2 minutes. They have to go through the 7-year period for their physical bodies to grow to a certain proportion, to grow to a certain physical maturity. Of course, we may evolve. I mean, we may evolve that we will, our organs will never grow, our organs will grow at a slower pace, or certain organs will grow faster. And that happens over millions of years. But in my small window, that change, it could be a day or two, a month at the most. So instead of, you see that now, typically it used to be around 14 years of age is when the girls hit maturity. But now it has come down to 12. 12 is very, very common. In certain cases, 11 is also very common. In special cases, we are having it at 8, 9, and 10 years also. So technically, once we hit that maturity, the girls are ready to reproduce. And we have also read about 8-year-old girls becoming pregnant. Now when you look at the developmental milestones, 8-year-old, she has not even hit that Rubicon crisis, crossover from childhood to adolescence, and she's already pregnant. And she'll have a baby when she's 9 years old, when she is herself in the Rubicon crisis. And she has this young one to take care of. Imagine what's going to happen to her and to the baby. This is an extreme example I'm giving, not a very common sight in our immediate surroundings, but definitely quite common, quite possible. I mean, we have children even now getting married at 13, 14. They have children when they're 15, 16. They're not even mature yet to decide what is right, what is wrong. And you will not see the repercussions until the baby is 8, 9, 10 years old. They just don't know how to handle, unless they're living in like a joint family. There are grandmothers who are 30 years old taking care of this 10-year-old, which is like the appropriate age for somebody to be 30 to take care of a 10-year-old at least. But it boils down to me as a caregiving being myself, being matured enough to handle the children till they're adults, which is 21 years of age. And that is where our role as teacher, our role as human being comes. So we are constantly healing ourselves because we are a bundle of issues that we have. We have our own share of traumas that we are carrying within us. I mean, some of us may have gone through like major trauma of losing parents or abusive parents, or having gone through lots of natural calamities, heartburns, family feuds, many things like that. But even when we consider like a very normal family, where we have enough to eat, where we have parents around us who provide us, but we are in the world. We are living in the world which is imperfect, and it will always be imperfect. Because the destiny, the goal for this whole cosmos is to grow and mature continuously. So if I am born as a human being, definitely there are areas in which I have to pay attention to and refine and evolve. And I did mention earlier, journaling as an important tool to understand what's happening in my life and what is it that I need to heal. Journaling could begin as just documenting what happened today. I went here, I did that, I did this, and some special events, something that sad happened today or something that really good happened today. I'm just going to document it and leave it. As part of healing process, what I need to do with this is go back and look at when When did I have similar experiences earlier in my life? Which pattern am I repeating today? We may just discount it. We may just say, oh, this always happens to me. But now, because you are on the path of healing, you won't speak very casually. You will stop, pause a little bit and ask, why is this happening to me the same way every time? When did this happen to me previously? What were the circumstances then? And are the similar circumstances existing now? When you start practicing this, you will see when I am in this bracket, 49 to 56, let's say, that's emotional stage of emotional maturity or emotional state. But 49 to 56, I must be a bit more mature. And if something happened that really, really hurt me, shook me, then it helps to go back and look at my 28 to 35 age. That's the emotional stage as well. What things happened during that age? And then you go back and look at 7 to 14. That is also emotion. That's where you are very vulnerable. And look at what happened then that is repeating itself in these 7-year cycles. And recognizing this pattern is the first step for us to choose whether we want to remain in that pattern, in that cycle, or we want to break out of that cycle. Because every time you are feeding 2 and 2 to an adding machine, the output is going to be 4. So let's say somebody yells at you, that is 2, and you get supremely angry and yell back, that is your 2. The outcome is going to be a fight. For example. So unless we change, we cannot change the other's way of behavior. I only have control on my behavior. So now recognizing that pattern, let's say someone else shouts at me, they're contributing there too. But now I'm a little bit more mature. I've recognized this pattern, and I know if I react, if I shout back, there is going to be a fight and animosity between us. So I choose to do something else. You could choose to say, I do not agree with you, but I'm not in a situation to debate about it. So you have not just shut up, but the minute you shut up, which most of us do, but there is anger within. So then it may be a passive aggressive behavior. It is same, it may not be out. You may not say anything back to that person, but you'll never want to see that person again. You'll start turning your faces away. You will start like complaining about them, blaming them, all those kinds of things. But right now, what I'm going to do is confront them. And that I should have worked out before. I cannot just confront when these things happen. That is the healing process. Once you identify a situation and you say, I am going to confront, I'm not going to fight back. I'm going to not react. I'm going to respond. So anybody for that matter shouts, I'm going to take a minute, stand there and tell them that I do not agree and I would not choose to debate about it anymore right now, but you're willing to when the situation is calmer, and then remove yourself from that situation. And this is like a mental preparation that you will need to do prior to getting into that situation. Once you start identifying these patterns, you will not have very many. You will probably have just one or two triggers. It appears like a lot. I mean, people may say, oh, she's such an angry person. But then that anger is stemming from one common reason. It could be fear of failure, fear of insult, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear of being sad. Something triggers it, and that stems from something I experienced in my 7 to 14. If there is an intellectual withdrawal, somebody gives you responsibility and we are afraid to take it up and we shy away, we do a crappy job or whatever. It's, if you go back and relate to it, if you have been doing it again and again, it will map back to the fear in taking responsibility, which typically happened from 14 till 21. You know, where we were supposed to have taken responsibility, supposed to have taken decisions, supposed to be taking risk and doing things, taking charge. Somewhere we were not allowed to. Somewhere the foundation that we had was shaky. And so later on, from periods 21 to 28, and then from 56 to 63 to 70, 56 to 70, we will not be able to take that decision and charge. And you will see so many people after retirement, you know, kind of withdraw and keep to themselves. And women in that stage who are homemakers, who were homemakers earlier, complain that their life will never change and nobody will ever understand them. You're stuck in such a rut and la la la, you know, all these standard stereotypical gender-based jokes float around. And that makes a belief system stronger. And that's conditioning. We get conditioned so hard that we don't even understand we are in certain pattern. And that blocks us from healing. You know, it's self-fulfilling prophecy, you know. So somewhere with every block that I encounter, I need to go back and look at the pattern. I need to go back and trace the root of that pattern and heal it. And once we are doing this for ourselves, you will realize how many such things our children going through right now. Looking at child, be it our own child or be it children in the school, and trying to speak good words is like putting a band-aid on. It's not healing the wound. It's a temporary fix. If it is a minor scratch and a band-aid will work, but it's a deep cut and we still put bandage on, will cause more problems. And my ability to understand that children may be going through different kinds of traumas will only emerge when I have looked at my own life. I don't even have to look at others. I have enough that I'm carrying within me, considering that I was still part of a normal family. Because there's a lot of condition, you see. My parents may have been good. My upbringing, physical comfort, everything may have been fine. But yet I'm facing the world. I'm going out there and I'm in the peer pressure. I mean, this is again another extreme example I'll quote, but we were in one of such sessions, and this girl, she was about 28 or so, she shared her story. I mean, she was from very nice family. Parents were well-to-do, very caring. She was the only daughter, lived in a joint family, with uncle, with grandparents and all of that. But then they also had a house help, a male, and he abused her sexually since she was 8 years old. And he threatened her that if she opened up, then she was very close to her grandfather, that he would kill the grandfather. The 8-year-old did not know what was right, what was wrong, and she went through it, fear, and did not open up. And her grandfather passed away when she was 14 or so. And now this fellow could not use that as an excuse. Then he changed it. I'll kill your mother. And around 14, she was also a little mature. And when he started saying mother, then she realized that, okay, he's going to skip to father or whatever. That is when she opened up to her parents, and she was already 16 or something by then. So she had suffered the sexual abuse in her own home, in a very cozy, nice family with so many people around. But she was scarred for life. And she was 28 when she shared this. And she had learned coping mechanisms. She had understood that whenever she was sick, he would not come to her. So she started becoming sick by choice. So in her post-12 age, she was constantly sick. And she could, I mean, she was sharing that, such a great human ability that we have, that I can fall sick by creating that intense thought within me. And for her, it was survival. And because she was constantly sick, she avoided him for sure. But then she could also not go to school, not go through her college, whatever, could not cope up with um, the academic part of it. So she was restarting her life in around 28, because then she had to go through a lot of therapy, a lot of this, a lot of that. Yet we will still not be the person we were. So we cannot assume that just because I am there, of course, we are predominant role models in our child's life. Yet we must also know that children are exposed. It may not be an extreme case like this one, but someone constantly telling them that your nose is wide, like it happened with Michael Jackson, is good enough for it to scar me for life. I mean, we see that all the time. If someone has a dark skin, people will tell them what not. I mean, even they have nicknames like Blackjack, Black Horse, Blackie, Korea, whatever. And society will name us. You are plump, they name you. You are skinny, they name you. You are tall, they name you. You are short, they name you. And unfortunately, many family members also kind of label us. And that's where we get stuck. I mean, these days, even the physical development does not happen properly in the first 7 years of life because of the convenience we have in childcare. We have those walkers, we have those strollers, we have the pacifiers. So we really never let child to experience their lungs, to experience their bodies, to get hurt, to get to fall, to get up, to walk, to balance. We don't let any of this happen. especially in the urban and well-to-do families, we don't even let children walk barefoot. If they are getting onto a cycle, it's just not the helmet. They have to also wear the knee pad and hand pad and elbow pad and whatnot. People sell every possible thing, so we never ever get hurt. But getting hurt physically is part of growing up. And similarly, getting hurt emotionally is also part of growing up, but then we cannot ignore it. When we work on ourselves, we understand the need for the child to heal it right away. For me, it has taken years to heal all this, all the things that I went through. And when I recognize that in a 14-year-old, they don't have to suffer for next 30 years to go back and heal, if at all they reflect back. If they're lucky enough to get onto some course or some path where they will heal, but many of us just push because we have developed coping mechanisms. If this girl's grandfather had lived longer, she would never have recognized that he is using that as a tool. She would have believed so strongly that he would definitely kill her grandfather, and she would have been 38 when she would still be abused. And then she's scarred for life. I mean, either way she was scarred for life, but then she would be beyond repair. So it's important for us to get onto that healing path. And it's important to journal. And it's important to journal to find these patterns and to go to the core of it and heal it. I mean, it could be very simple. Somebody could be eating unnecessarily a lot and then puking. I mean, I have all these examples in my life. And people complain, oh, you just eat and you puke, you eat and just puke. And that's a pattern. Now, why does he eat so much? That binging, what is causing the binging? It's some kind of a soul consolation, that we binge on food. So questioning that to find the root of that pattern, whether we understand it or not, whether we heal it or not. I mean, that's what I keep asking or telling teachers. If I cannot improve the confidence, self-esteem of the child, let me at least not diminish it with which they come to us with. Let us not insult them further. Let us not blame them further. Let us give them a benefit of doubt. Let us have some conversation with them. Because every misbehavior is crying for help. I may not understand it because I'm going from my own framework. But it's time that we understand. Because we were also crying for help, and that's why we started acting out. We have headaches, backaches, we have discomforts, we do not talk to certain people, we over talk to certain people. I'm over open or I'm not at all open. There are a lot of things, patterns that we put forth, and there's a reason behind, and it's about time that we find those reasons. So please begin journaling. Thank you.